Hello YouTubers, hello Internet, hello everyone. Time for a new video. There's been a couple of weeks since I did the last one, but now it's time for another one. And I'm going to start today by talking about a Christmas record that is very famous, of course. We have today December the 5th, and we're getting closer and closer to the festive season. The stores already think that we have Christmas. Well, you hear Christmas music everywhere, although when I look out through my window there, I see it's very grey, not a sign of any snow yet, so we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to talk about a Christmas record that I first heard of in the early 90s, and although it's much older, it's from the 60s, from 63, 64 I think. And I got it on CD because that was of course what you bought back then. And it's this one, A Christmas Gift for You, from Phil Spector. And this is the CD reissue from 1991. And I have always been fond of the Phil Spector sound when it's done right, but although he has also been involved in some projects that hasn't been as good in my view. I never really cared for his treatment of the Let It Be tracks of the Beatles, but still, this is a great Christmas record that I like a lot. And some week ago or so, I thought, I heard tracks from this album being played on the radio, so I thought, wait a minute, I've got this on CD and I've been buying vinyl for the last, mainly vinyl for the last years, and I thought, why don't I have this on vinyl? So I managed to find a copy of a reissue. And it's this one. It's very new. It's on red vinyl and it's on the Doll label. So it is about a 140 gram reissue. It is a bit of a cheap alternative. But still, it sounds good. And the songs are the same. This record has been reissued so many times with different titles and different sleeves. Because if you check here, it says the Phil Spector Christmas album. And this was called A Christmas Gift for You, from Phil Spector, and you see it is the same sleeve apart from the title, and it's the same tracks, but the title, the Phil Spector Christmas album, first appeared on a reissue, I think it was in the early 70s, and with a completely different sleeve. It was a sleeve of Phil Spector dressed as a bit of a creepy Santa. Well, you can imagine that, and I'm sure you've seen it too. And there's been other versions of this album with different sleeves, but the contents has always been the same. They started to put out this reissue version with the old sleeve artwork and the newer title in the 80s. This combination, from what I've seen from my quick research on the web. So I thought when I listened to this, this is so great. Why haven't I purchased this on vinyl before? Because it's been available with this title as well. So, and then when I listened to it, I was going to put it in my shelf. Hey ho, what did I find there? The Music on Vinyl reissue from 2011. Vinyl Senility. It happens more often than you could ever imagine. But it's a cross that we old, dodgy record collectors have to bear. Still, two different pressings and two different issues, although it is the same records. And you can see the different quality of the... I think you can see the different quality of the... the sleeves and the picture. This looks a bit older, dodgier. This looks much newer, and although this looks much more like this one, apart from the title being different. So never mind. And also we have a bit different back sleeves here too. This is more like the original. This is a cheaper one with all the just the basic information. So and this is of course on the Phil Spector label, although it is a Sony issue, reissue. Right, enough of that. Just shows that you can't remember everything when you're a record collector. I'm going to show you some other records now. And we're continuing with another Christmas album that I just bought on a whim. I didn't really know that much about them, but I bought it anyway. Sharon Jones and the DapKings. It's a holiday soul party on the Daptone label. I read up a bit about the singer Sharon Jones and this group since then, and it is a very nice Christmas album in the 60s soul style, even though it is a record that has been issued this year, so it's a new. The recordings are new, but it has this old Atlantic feel. I mean, the Atlantic label feel of it. And if you check it, it looks as if it was issued from the 60s as well in the artwork. And I have to say, I'm very fond of those small details. And I'm going to look for more records with Sharon Jones and the DapKings because I really like this. And I've heard that she has some health issues these days, so I hope she gets better soon because we want more of this, of course. And I have, as I said, plenty of albums to explore because I've seen that they are available. They are available on vinyl too, so I'm going to have a look. Right, that's Sharon Jones and the DapKings. This will be played more times this Christmas and upcoming Christmases, I'm sure. Okay, let's leave the Christmas theme. Another record that I really thought that I had, but many times when I check my record shelves, no, I haven't got it. I've got other variations and so on, but it's Nancy Sinatra's album Boots from 1966 on Reprise, or is it Reprise? I'm not sure about how you pronounce that. It is of course her breakthrough album, and I've got several albums by Nancy Sinatra, but for some reason this one has always eluded me, or I found it many times but it's been in such a poor quality or worn out or well loved to death, so I haven't bought them. But this is in pristine condition. We have some wear on the sleeve, but the record is fine. Then a record that caused some amusement at the store when I bought it. I wasn't aware of this singer or this issue, but it is, after all, something that looks interesting. It's Debbie Taylor, Coming Down on You. And the record seller that I bought this from had a bit of a smile. I'm not sure. Well. It is a record issued on the Today label, and fairly nice soul pop from the early 70s, and it is a fun sleeve, I think so too. Was quite cheap too. Then we have a fairly new issue here. It is Johnny Cash presents a concert behind prison walls. I thought when I first saw this that it was one of his prison concerts with just Johnny Cash, but now when I check the contents, we also have Linda Ronstadt and Roy Clark and the comedian Foster Brooks on this album, which was a bit surprising. So it's like a full package concert here. It is on grey vinyl, and it is on the Let Them Eat vinyl label that I've been seeing more and more of lately. So interesting issue. It's a double album. And then the last LP I'm going to show you is this blues collection, or the Blues Project, with John Kerner, Jeff Muldaur, Dave Ray, Danny Cobb, Ian Buchanan, Mark Spolstra, and Eric von Schmidt. A compendium of the very best on the urban blues scene, and it's on the Electra. It's a tan Electra label, very nice. But I think one of the most interesting things about this album is that one of the accompanying musicians is a man who calls himself Bob Landy. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with that already, but it is in fact Bob Dylan, who couldn't, of course, appear on the Electra label using his own name, and also as a backup artist. I mean, that doesn't really fit with his iconic reputation that he was starting to build in the 1960s. He was in Columbia then. But this is very nice. Also, a thing that I thought was quite cool was that inside the sleeve, apart from the record, you could find, where is it now? Oh, there it is. A little brochure. Oh, a little brochure with the Electra catalog from 1967, where you can find different records available, and yeah, very nice. You rarely find these inside records. I rarely do it anyway. Looking very nice. So, oh yes, I'm going to show you one more thing. It is not vinyl, it is CD. I'm not sure whether I've talked about this man before, but it's a Swedish comedian. A bit of a one-trick pony. His main act was calling up unexpected people on the telephone, often numbers that were placed in adverts, and talking to them and more or less confusing them in a very mild-mannered way, but by using weird words that didn't exist, and well, mainly confusing them. His name was Karl-Axel Ternberg, but he was more known of the name Kalle Sändare. And for those of you who, I found that many of his biggest fans are among musicians, but because they had cassettes of his recordings that were played on the tour buses, because to make the long boring journeys a bit more fun. One great example is ABBA, and on all the different ABBA issues you can find many small jokes related to Kalle Sändare on the records and on the sleeves and stuff like that, if you just know where to look. But last year there was a CD box issued with all his original albums on CD. He started back in 1965 and issued new albums up until 1997, I think. He passed away some years ago. After his death, and even before his death, an appreciation society called Grisen Skridskoföreningen, or if you translate into the English, it would be the Pig and Skate Club. The Pig and Skate Club, and all his albums issued. I think we have, how many are there? I think it's 20 something. 20, let's see now. 22 of them. From the very start, from 1965. All of his albums in a fairly cheap box. Although I have to say, okay, it's cheap and that's very good, and I have nothing to say about the recordings available here, but I wish that they would put some more effort into these card sleeves, because the printing or the colors looks a bit washed out, like poor copies of the LP originals. And also all of them have the same back sleeve. It would be more fun if they were more accurate to the originals. So this was issued last year in 2014, and then I thought about getting it, but then I thought, well, I think I have all his albums already. I did. I almost all of them, not well, all of those who were available on LP anyway. But so, but then I saw notice that there weren't that many copies left of this box. So I thought, well, what the hell? I should get it because I am a great fan of Kalesandre. But and one fun thing was what just a couple of weeks after I bought this, they sold out the last copies for the half price. So yeah, not a good timing there, but still. All right, that's it for now. Hope you found it, well, at least somewhat interesting, and I wish you a very good day or whatever, night or whatever. Okay, bye for now.